Good morning, y'all. It's gonna be a hot day today. Supposed to get up to about 95. So I'm sitting here looking at what technically, according to Billy at Perma Farms Pastures, is a food forest. And you may ask, how do I say that? Well, that fruit is edible. Those are going to make sugar. Excuse that. The yucca is for soap and cordage. That yucca is too. The cactus you see there produces a fruit that can be ate, fruit that can be ate, fruit that can be ate. And those are Peruvian apples. They produce big fruits that can be eaten. Kind of looks like a dragon fruit. From what I understand, they're pretty good. I've never had one. I'm looking forward to it. And then, of course, the ocotillo you can make tea from. Got a wolfberry there and a wolfberry there. And back here, I put that is a mesquite tree, cat's claw mesquite tree. So technically, isn't this a food forest? I don't know. Anyway, hi, it's Jamie. Just mulling over stuff. You can see my latest little project, putting a mini swell in here to try to catch the stuff that's coming up here. I'm going to try to direct water. I'm pretty aware that I'm not going to be able to trap all the water. All I'm wanting to do is slow it down, kind of direct it in the places that I want it, and try to retain as much as I can on my land. Simple as that. I've cleared out some paths so I can walk around. Latest path I cleared out was over here. I'm moving some cactuses around. I'm going to put some stairs in here. Trying a concrete thing. I'll get back to that. But now I cleared out a path to what's gonna be our rock quarry, and did some more trimming on ocotillos. Lizard, see a line in there? They call them a whiptail. They're not all that scary. See if I can get up closer. Where you at, buddy? There he goes. But seeing a lot more of those. One thing fortunate about our garden, kind of got our grasshoppers under control because we've invited a lot of lizards into it. But back to the rock quarry. I'm gonna finish going on this, but we're gonna end up putting what's gonna be kind of like a platform here. So all these rocks just gotta kind of be adjusted, and we got a lot of rocks that we can work with down in the garden. These plates just come right off, and we've got lots of quartz. So this is going to be like a gazebo platform overlooking this, and that still pretty green down there. So yeah, gazebo up here. Probably going to put an outdoor kitchen right down in here. Going to build that out of material from here, it looks like. The rocks and our soil. I'll show you what we've been experimenting with. starting to shape up around here. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Starting to shape up. And I've decided to leave these guys. I don't have that many on my property. I kind of like the structure of them. And granted, they're a pain in the ass, and when you walk near them, that's what happens. But it can all, you know, be dealt with. And that's the downward slope that I'm dealing with currently. I'm not going to make these swells. These are actually going to be swells. So I was watching, I've been binge watching this permapasture farm. Billy and his son and his wife, they do some great stuff. And he said, you know, the swell system that I've been watching, they put the trees on the backside of them. Well, that don't make sense out here. I could understand it if we had a lot of water and you don't want the roots, you want the roots to dry out, right? But here, I've got that and that on the inside of my swell. My thoughts are, I want to make them like the wash. Those get flooded out a couple of times a year, and those bushes are 20, 30 times the size of these. So I'm going to flood them. And the one thing we noticed with flooding are letting that 400 gallons go. 400 gallons absorbed in our ground in less than an hour. Okay, straight down and into the swell part. So that tells me I've got good drainage. I can trap as much water as I can and pump it into my ground. So that's what I'm going to do. Over here, I'm going to put a step well in between where the forks come together, and a series of slow down swells going up. Not so much swells as like maybe retention walls or something. Little small retention ponds, and just try to slow it down. My sweet potatoes, I've already got one slip in the ground already, and these guys are getting good roots on them. I just pop them off of here and then put them in here, root them, and this is all just a potato. We got them at the store. This one was almost rotten, the rotten half. We tried to grow out of it, but it didn't grow. But this part that's hard, we've already got like 2 slips off of it in there. So, doing good. The aloes are bouncing up. The prickly pears are starting to rebound. I let them curl up. You notice how I got them all curled here? I let them really callus over on the bottom. And then when they start curling up, I plant them at that point. And these, just to show you, were as curled up as that guy down there. And as you can see, they're rehydrating. So I hadn't forgotten too much about cactuses. I don't think I've talked about this one. This guy, I was digging up these, right? This pole, this bush. And inside the bush, right at the base of it, the seed of the mammillaria got in here. And then it's attached itself to this bush. So I can't really get it off that bush. So I've got a mammillaria bush. But all the house plants, the bromeliads, they're sprouting. See the new growths coming up. And I gotta get this guy in the ground. Gastonarias are doing good. The euphorbia, which is the Tasmanian, or what's it called? Tasmanian walking stick or something like that. This guy doing good. Sending up pups down there. This guy's sending up pups way over here. And then up here, we sprouted a bunch of squash and flowers. These guys are not doing so well. They're not getting big. They're pretty dwarfs. I've been wondering if I started them too early and I just stunted them. So I thinned them out to see. They got about a week to before I ate them. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm gonna eat the rest of our seedlings. A couple more pumpkins, a couple more squash. These are moringas. We've come up with a new system for our moringas because when I planted the last one, I noticed that when I got it out of the thing, it really disturbed the roots, and my plant over there suffered for it, but it's rebounded. But this way, I cut the bottom and the top, so the top comes off and the bottom comes off, so I can just drop it in the ground and pull it up, or pull the bottom off and drop it in the ground like that, and not disturb the roots. So, my nursery bed doing good down there with the lettuce. Radishes are coming up good, basil's good, even though the basil is pretty much decimated. One of our local critters, turns out he loves basil pretty well. But it's bouncing back. Corn's popping. That is a cantaloupe. That's corn. That's watermelon. More corn in there. Had to replant this corn bed. And it looks like I'm going to replant that pumpkin. And corn, beans. Cucumbers are getting their flowers finally. They're starting to kind of spread out. And another watermelon there. These are lentils. Those chickpeas back there. These are beefsteak. And sunflowers starting to get a bad. But as you can see, everything's doing well. This guy's finally bouncing back. He's gonna be huge. The fig's looking good. Thank you, Janessa and Jonas. Got some sugar snapes already. Another pumpkin, more corn. That's hemp. That's a yam. That's a pumpkin. Yam, 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 yam. More flowers. We're probably going to end up putting a tree here. The peppers don't seem to be doing that well out here. So I'm going to try them in the coal house. Not really a greenhouse. So it's more like a coal house, a shade room, whatever. It works. The pomegranate, I did some clipping on it. And I got to still do a couple more trim. But it's shaping up beautifully. The creeping rosemary seems to be bouncing well. My kale's coming in. Another moringa. Kale. Beans. And okra. And beans. We built this little bean pole thing out of the dead acacias. As you can see, been pouring rocks and getting more rocks. Gonna take this. We dismantled that part. Come around. As you can see, our fence is now around the garden. Not completely. We still got to get it going. Kind of undecided what I'm gonna do here. But my first pole that I planted is blooming. So that tells me those are quite alive. And my living fence thing is going to work. The papayas are doing well. Really about time to thin them. I'm going to thin about half and try to move them. I hear that they're fairly easy to move. We'll see. We got 2 days in the 90s, and then it goes into the 80s. And then Monday and Tuesday is supposed to be like in the 70s. So that's going to be a good time to move those. I've got a couple of cactuses I'm going to transplant out and move. And that weather's going to be perfect timing for it. So in this one, we have more beans coming up. This is zucchini, and that's zucchini. And there's more beans that's yet to pop, but they are going to pop. There's one. And then squash is going to go in here, some more corn, sweet potatoes in here, and sweet potatoes in here. We're going to try everything, guys. I'm going to try to cover as much of this ground. You can see we're slowly getting it all mulched too as we go. As we pop the and trim up the sagebrush out there. We just take it and throw it in here, and we walk on it. It makes pretty good soil, but it makes also great ground cover. So one of the things that you may notice is that it's not as deep as it was. And it's not. It never was intended to be very deep in here. What I'm doing as I put these down, and some of it is left, I'll throw a layer of dirt on it. So I'm slowly getting matter in my soil. And eventually I'll be able to plant trees in these here. And the things that you're seeing here are actually my paths around the trees and through the trees. There'll be a series of things going across to where you can kind of walk through here. And it's a work in progress. But other than that, that moringa tree is doing really well. All my cactuses seem to be doing well. As the world goes crazy, we seem to get better off. So, you know, guys, be good to one another, because it seems to be short supply of that now. And love one another. And we'll talk to you next week.